Lights.
Spooky.
Wrong mood.
There we go. No, I already made it dark. Really?
Why is it so dark? Sure, there are.
You're gonna be learning about lighting.
Bro, Stan, you feeling it, huh?
Yeah.
It's night.
Okay, let me sit next to someone.
I'm
Let me
hanging.
stand next to someone.
Mars.
All right, first, let me make it. And everyone can now view gadgets. All right, today we are in this very dark space because we are going to be learning about lighting and how to use it. We're going to go over a couple of the different, the two different light gadgets that the Maker Pen has. We're going to make a simple light switch that'll turn the point light on and off. We're going to make basically like an alarm light with the spotlights where it'll spin around. And we'll play with something with the tags to show that you can have it to where it, we'll have a look at Gizmo with the spotlight on it. And you'll have an object you'll be carried around. It will make the spotlight track you. So let's get started with the basics. The point light. So go into your palette, go to gadgets, go down to other gadgets, and click on the point light. And that'll give you one of these. Once you've pulled one of those up, go ahead and pull out your configure tool and click on the light itself, and we'll go over what you can configure with it. The first setting we have to play with, does everyone have their light out? Everyone have one? Cool. So the first thing we're going to look at is the intensity. This is how bright or how strong the light is. The higher the number, the brighter. And it goes from, I believe, all the way down to 0 up to 100. 0 is off, 100 is oversaturating everything around you. Pretty much blinding. Okay? We go then to range, which is the next setting. That's how far it throws the light. This is in tenths of a meter. So 10 centimeters is 1 unit here. The default is 50, but you can blow it up to be really big or make it pretty small. Right now, it's probably kind of hard to tell because I think everyone's doing it, so we're just getting a bunch of lights overlapping. Then the other thing you can do is change the color of your light. But the way you do that is using the recolor tool. And you pick a color, and you point at the light bulb, and it changes the color of it. So, for instance, here I've got it red. You can go really any color you want with this. Okay? So that's the basics of the...
Have the range too high. A lot of people fill up the entire room.
Do what?
You may want to tell people to not have the range too high. It's fill up the entire room and it's actually causing
Yeah, I'm about to.
artifacts.
Yeah. Yeah, so do me a favor, everyone, turn your range down just a bit on it. Keep the range down to around 50 for the class, just because the fact that if we make it too big, it's going to be hard for us to tell if our lights are working correctly. Second, let me make sure I just... Okay. Okay, now I want to talk to you guys about the 4 pins that the light has. Because all of the stuff we just did is possible to be done by circuits. So bring up your wire tool. If you point at the red pin, whoa, I don't know what that was, but okay. All right, point at the red pin. This is the on-off pin. By default, it's on. But if you wire something to it, sending a value of 0 will turn it off. Any other value will turn the light on. The green pin That's the color. This uses the same kind of color IDs that you'll see on the stage light. Actually, I think this. Are there any other gadgets that use the color ID besides the lights?
Beacons.
Oh yeah, the beacons. I forgot about those. And the beacons. It's the same color IDs for that. The teal pin or cyan pin is the range, which we configured in the configure screen a minute ago. And the blue pin is the intensity, which is 0 to 100. If it's under 0, then it's treated as 0. If it's over 100, it's treated as 100. Okay? And that's it as far as what is on the pin, what's on the point light itself. Now we're going to make a really simple circuit to make a light switch. We're going to start by creating a trigger volume. To go to your gadgets, other gadgets, trigger volume. Just create a small one. It doesn't have to be very big for this purpose. And then we're going to create a state machine like we did for the door yesterday or Monday. To go to other chips, state machine, and bring one of those in. Okay? We're then going to select the state machine, which will give us the little 3 dots and allow us to a state. We then select the state, get the 3 dots again, and add another state. So we'll have 2 of them.
Select. Add state.
You've got yours going. Good.
Add state.
State 1 to state 2.
All right. So everyone should have their trigger volumes now connected to their state machine. The last step we're going to do, well, the last wiring step we're going to do is we are going to connect the red pin of the state machine, the Val 1 pin, to the red pin of your point light.
Red
Okay.
to red. Red to red.
Then we're going to configure, after everyone has the red pin of the state machine connected to the red pin of the point light,
Now you want to
we're going to configure state 2,
a red pin up to
and we're going to set value 1 to 1. And with that,
Yeah, want to connect both of them to the.
you'll
red
have
pin
a
down
working light.
Hey.
Fireworks, yeah.
But I did nothing though. That's the problem. I just
Okay.
cloned your thing.
Just
see.
look at the
Does it?
circuits and work it out.
Now you want to connect the red
Make
pin
them around,
to
see?
the
Remember
red pin
what it
and
looks
there's
like.
that.
Now we're going to play with the spotlight.
Save yours if that's
So if you open up your palette
I already deleted
and
mine.
go to other gadgets,
Can I save
you'll
yours?
see the spotlight, which looks pretty much identical to a point light. It's a light bulb. The big difference with a spotlight versus a point light is, whereas a point light acts kind of like a light bulb in your house would be, like a lamp or something like that, spotlight acts more like a flashlight. It's got a narrow, it's got an angled beam of light, effectively.
I still can't.
The configuration options, if we go into configure the light,
Marissa.
you'll see all the same options we had before, but there's
You
one
can
more in
mix it
here
all
now called angle.
Hmm?
Angle sets
Hey,
how
Marissa,
wide the beam
Does it
is
just mean they can't hear
from
Marissa or I can't
1,
hear her
I
either?
don't
Which
hear
is-
you either.
pretty much. What's wrong?
Oh. Oh, we just
You guys
can't
didn't hear me?
Marissa.
Oh, talking
No, we
about
can't hear
Marissa.
Marissa.
Oh. If you set it down to, if you set the
Oh,
angle down to
okay.
1, it's practically a
Oh,
laser
there we go.
pointer.
There
Nice
we
little tiny
go.
dot. And you can go all the way up to 90, which makes a
So
pretty
you
wide,
didn't-
beam.
You didn't. Your intensity was so low. That's why. it wasn't
Everything else,
turning- it didn't look
intensity
like it
and
was turning
range
on.
are the exact same as they were on the point light.
The way you wanna turn
Using
your
recolor on your
intensity
Baker pin
up
will change the color of the light
by
like you
going
did on the
from
point light.
configure on the light.
Whoa.
And the
That's when
pin out
you
is the
can
same.
turn
It's,
it up
we have
so
an
you can
extra
see it
pin now. We
turn
have
on
a
off.
magenta pin on here
Mm-hmm.
that is for
Thank you.
the
I made a
for
laser.
configuring the angle of it dynamically. So you can actually narrow and widen the beam
Very nice.
at will with a circuit if you want to. Okay? That'll make sense so far.
I got a laser pointer.
Okay? What we're gonna do for this exercise, we made the light switch before. We're gonna make a basically like a siren type light, like in a police car. We're gonna make 2 spotlights that point opposite directions and spin. So go ahead and create 2 point lights. Or sorry, not 2 spotlights.
Oh.
And orient them in such
Oh,
a
no.
way I am falling to my doom. I don't know what just happened there.
Someone changed.
Fine, go be offline.
I also know where my other light just went.
What the hell?
I don't know what just happened. That was weird.
What? Who's maniacally laughing?
Yeah, that's creepy.
Okay. We try that again. So we're going to create 2 of the spotlights. And we're going to orient them in such a way that they are facing away from each other. So one faces one direction, the other faces the other.
What the hell?
Go ahead and use the recolor tool to set them to whatever color you want them to be.
Oh shoot.
Okay. And then you can configure them, set their intent. I would recommend setting the intensity pretty high, but keep the range low. Remember, there's a lot of us in here, so we don't want it blasting at everybody. But try to keep the range around 50.
Oh.
Okay.
Right.
Next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a rotator. Gizmo, so go back to your gadgets, go to gizmos and pick rotator, and try to place it pretty much dead in the middle of your 2 lights.
This
Should we
one's not-
scale? Should we scale the rotator down?
Oh thanks.
Where's my
Malekith crashed.
Wait, do we have to scale?
Okay.
I don't know if these are too close to each other.
Yeah, that may be a little too close. You might want to spread them out. Don't need, yeah, and you don't want gizmo, actually. You want the brass pin of the gizmo. So if you see how I've got mine set up, where the brass pin is pointing at the middle, because the brass pin is what it's going to rotate on. So you'll want to turn your gizmo sideways and put it, yeah, like that. Yeah, you'll want to turn your gizmo where it's aiming sideways. The brass pin is the rotation point. So right now it's going to spin this way. You want to turn it sideways so it spins this way.
How's it going, telekinesis?
Perfect.
You should make
It's
them
best
different
not to
colours.
use
All right.
gizmos.
Use the rotate thing on the maker pen anymore.
Are you helping Alex, Marisa?
Yeah, you should make it
If
bigger.
you resize gizmos, they change speed.
Oh, there's
Yeah, he just needs the rotator. He just needs to bring in a rotator gizmo and put it right in the middle. All right, perfect.
Is this normal size?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, that's normal size, I think.
Pretty much.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
Anyway, you could change the speed of it if you want,
Looks good.
Yeah.
even if it was
Good.
normal size.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Perfect. Perfect. All right.
Um,
Looks like everyone's got their gizmos. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to wire the light bulbs themselves
Molly,
to the brass pin of the gizmo of the rotator. So just drag a wire from the body of the light bulb down to the brass pin to get them both connected. Okay. There's a question?
Oh, so like drag from here.
Okay.
The tip to that.
Well, now what we're going to do
Again to the tip to that.
is we are going to draw a really big trigger volume. Okay? We want to make one that's big enough for you to walk into because that's what's going to trigger your light spinning.
That works.
Was weird.
Alright. So you can draw a trigger zone.
So there we go.
Go ahead and draw a trigger zone.
Okay?
Mm, yes.
Someone's intensity is really high.
Sorry, you need to create a trigger zone. Yep. Yep, Alex just got his. Okay.
The floor level.
Everyone's got their trigger volumes. The next thing we want to do is bring out your configure tool. We're going to configure the green pin of our gizmo to set the speed at which the siren's going to spin. I'm going to set mine to 100 times per minute because I want it to be really fast. You can set it to however fast or slow you want it, but that's the first
Yeah,
step. So
green.
configure the little green circle next to the green pin of your gizmo and put in how fast you want it to rotate speed-wise.
so Rally, you've got a...
No, no, not
green
don't
pin.
configure the gizmo itself. You have to click on the green
You've
circle.
got,
Alex, you have yours set to move to target. You want to set yours to
green
you
circle.
want to make sure you have move to target turned off on your gizmo. We're not using that. We're letting it just spin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna go
The
into
last step
big purple
is we are going to connect the green pin of the trigger volume
So it's
to the
got
red pin of your
small
gizmo.
configure. It's got the cosines. It's got the
Green
gear
pin to
kind of
Okay.
symbol. Go ahead and click on
Green.
the.
And then
Once you
just,
do that,
click the green
if you
circle,
walk into your
next to
trigger volume,
eh,
it should start spinning.
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
green circle.
Emphasis on should. Apparently we're having the gizmo issue again because mine's not triggering. But some of them are.
You want to connect to the red of the green. The red here to the green there.
I think the trigger volumes are having the issues again.
Oh, now it's.
Or not trigger volumes, but the gizmos are having issues again 'cause mine's, they're not turning on.
Hey, mine keeps wiring to the floor.
What?
Configure it.
Your keeps what?
Mine keeps wiring to the floor when I do it.
I don't think that. No, you wired it to the body of this. You wire. You don't want to connect the trigger volume to it. You connected your trigger volume to your brass pin.
Fucking.
You want to connect the green pin of your trigger volume to the red pin of the gizmo.
Wait, what?
No, the
Say
green
that again?
circle.
Here, I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna disconnect this. You wired the
Yeah.
trigger volume to the gizmo to the
Don't touch
to this
that.
part.
Yeah.
You want to wire this
No, you
pin
need to,
of your trigger
The green
volume
one?
to the red
wire
pin of your
this.
gizmo.
Yeah, wire
What did
the
it work?
red.
Yeah, green pin.
You don't have to do it to the light.
There we go.
Only the,
Now it works.
only the gizmo and the trigger volume. So look.
So cool.
Yeah.
So everyone's got that figured out. We're gonna do one more exercise with the spotlights. This is a fun thing I did actually just yesterday. That I came up with that I think is a really fun thing to here with to work with tags. We're gonna make a spotlight that tracks you,
Oh.
or tracks, to be more specific, that tracks an object. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete the rotator and the trigger volume and one of your two spotlights. You're gonna keep one of them. If you delete your spotlight, you can just grab another one. It won't be a problem.
I'm gonna save it now.
All right. So is everyone?
Save
All right.
Delete.
Spotlight. We're making basically like a searchlight type thing that's gonna track you when you move around.
Yeah.
You want to use spotlight? That's a spotlight.
You wanna
Where's
spot.
this light
I
coming
think
from?
that's a point
I
light.
was wondering.
Oreo.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a point light. You need to make a
Oh,
spotlight.
It's
Spotlight.
weird because you'd think a point light would point at something, as in like.
Okay, yeah. You're
A point light is
showing
more
there
a
a little bit.
light point. Like at this point there's a light source, whereas a spotlight is, well, a spotlight.
Yeah, but I
Naming
get
things is
confused.
hard.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, as a software developer, they say the one of the hardest things in programming is naming things. Coming up with names that will make sense later on. Not for this game. But I am a software developer. All right. So, yep, you got your point light, you got your spotlight. I mean, you got your spotlight. All right, Raleigh. Got there. You already know what I'm doing and jumping ahead, which is cool. There's the sun. Okay. Yep. So we're gonna go ahead next. We're gonna create a look at gizmo. Okay. Go to your palette. Go to gadgets. And under gizmos, we want the look at. Okay.
I'll do a part of it for you, Rally.
What we're gonna do next, we're gonna rotate that onto its side. And we're gonna line it up with the back of with the back of your spotlight. So basically, wherever the brass pin on the look at gizmo is aiming, whenever it starts looking at something, that's what's going to that's the eye in this sense. That's the laser. That's what it's gonna be pointing at you. So
Don't get rid of this.
I'll get
it's
that.
the one you need.
And we're gonna move that to be right behind your spotlight, like that. Okay?
Oh.
Are you able to?
Oh.
And then we're going to wire the body of your spotlight to the brass pin of the look at gizmo.
Wait, hang on. You can keep one, Rowie. No. Just make another one.
Undo. There.
No.
All right. So now that we've done that, we're going to configure.
Probably best to use snap to L90, so it's perfectly straight.
We're going to go ahead and configure the look at gizmo. And I want you guys to come up with the tag that's going to be in yours. Come up with something specific to what you're doing. That way we all have something different.
Don't connect it. This isn't rotator. This is a look at gizmo.
I love it.
But remember, whatever you put in there, you need to remember, because we're going to make an object that has that same tag here in a minute. Also, while you're in the look at gizmo, you'll notice another option here for smoothing amount. That's how smooth it moves around.
You have to tag the disc.
Connect.
No, you're not tagging. You're setting the tag to follow. When you're configuring the look at gizmo, there's a setting for tag to follow, and you want to put Oreo.
You having trouble?
Oreo, please stop that.
Connect
Okay.
this to the power.
Well, you don't have this set up right.
Or the light. Or the.
Think of this as the flashlight base, and you put the light bulb here facing that way.
On and off.
Yeah.
What did your name? What did you name yours?
Connect that to
Okay.
on and off.
You have it
of
shining
the
down
light
right
bulb.
now.
I'm gonna name mine CJ.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll straighten this for you.
After you've configured your gizmo, go ahead and create an object. It doesn't matter what it is, something environmental. It can be maker pen shape.
I
It
want
could
you to
be
disconnect
something
the
you make
light
from
first.
the actual, from the props. But go ahead and make an object that you can grab.
Go from the light to the pin.
And we're going to give it the tag
Now
of
move the
whatever
light.
tag you've put,
Make it
tag. So whatever you call that tag in your look at gizmo, add that to your item that you make.
Someone
Oh,
has
yeah,
the
that is
same
fine.
idea as me. Oh, shoot.
There you go. That's close enough.
Okay.
I'll straighten it for you because you're in screen mode.
Object.
The last,
Do that.
You have your
once
object?
everyone has their stuff and is past that point,
Oh,
we'll do the last step, which is turning on our
it's
gizmo.
following something.
Yes.
Ah,
You don't
okay,
need
cool.
Let me just
this,
take you.
There you go.
Mhm.
right, so you
Now
just
connect this to there.
You've got yours working, Alex?
Okay.
So go in the red circle.
Yep, you've got your
on
setup.
the
Yep,
left
perfect.
side.
The last step is going to be configuring the red pin on the look at gizmo and setting its
Oh.
value to 1 to turn
Okay,
it
yeah, it's
on.
connected.
Yeah.
Once you do that, it will immediately start looking at your object. You carry
You
it,
have
if you
to
pick it up and carry it
configure
around,
this.
the light will follow you.
That is cool. Oh, we could use
And
it.
it's said to follow
No,
a
he's
tag.
been ahead of us the entire
No,
class.
you make
He,
it.
he knows what he's doing.
Tag for yourself.
He's got it.
Do what?
Make an object and give it the same tag.
I'm billion that.
No, configure
Oh,
the
that's a good
circle
idea.
on the look at gizmo.
That's a good idea.
So, does that make sense, everyone? You guys know? Do you guys understand what it's
Have
doing?
Storage for that.
I'm assuming most of you
That's a
do
good
because
idea.
a lot of you guys were ahead of me on it. You guys got it working pretty
There you go.
quick.
This is cool.
Now hit done.
Oh,
Well,
no,
guys,
I haven't
that's
even
it. I mean, that's
And
all
configure
the
it, give it a
exercises.
tag.
Once you have this working, that's the last exercise. If anyone needs help, let me know.
I think we can find a way to do it.
Just set it to one,
Find
right?
a way.
Wait, did you do it?
Should we go to
Maybe
the
like
podcast and do this now?
Maybe like enable posters
Oh.
and then
Alright,
post an
guys.
item and tag
Thank
that
you.
item